So I wanted to tell you a little bit about why I use Python, what I like about Python, why I program in general. I mean, I program for my job, but really the reason why I program is so that I can answer questions that I have. This is one of those questions. I've been on the road. This is not my picture, but if you have been on a highway around Chicago, around Illinois, you've probably seen a sign like this, very ominous. Some large number, traffic deaths in 2012. Good luck, please drive safely. What does that say? Like, what are you supposed to do with that? What does that even mean? Does that mean in Chicago? Does that mean in Illinois? Like, where is that? Is that all of, what's that? What's that?
Under the sign.
Under the sign, yes. Right here, by looking up at the sign, 957 people have died. So being a questioning person, I wonder, like, okay, where does this come from? Where does 957 come from? Does this get updated? I'm not on this road a lot. How often does it get?
7 to 8 while you're driving.
Oh my gosh. And I don't drive. Like, I've never had a license. I'm 32 years old. I've never had a license. I have sort of pressure to get a license, but I really don't want to drive. And so this is like fuel for the fire. Like, okay, there have been 1,000 people, almost 1,000 people that died. What do I do with this? So, so this presentation is about exploring that, trying to answer that question. What does this mean? Where does this come from? What can I do to understand this better? Please drive safely. Well, I'm not driving, so big whoop. What can I do with this? And so this is also, I want to talk a little bit about this. This is like NLTK and language and linguistics is awesome. It may not be as accessible to a very beginner. And I came to ChiPy as a beginner, relative beginner, and I'm like, how can I get into something? How can I like try one of these projects, try something? So what I want to talk about here too is that this was like one night. This was coming back from, I think, Christmas. I saw a sign, I'm like, I have to look into this. I have to find out where this data is coming from. And I want to make this accessible to someone who maybe isn't like a super Python guru, you know, like they're not running Linux, they're running Windows. No, I started on Windows. I started on Windows and trying to get IPython running and all the modules installed and getting virtual env installed and all that is a huge pain in the neck. So one thing I want to talk about is Python Anywhere. This is I created a GitHub repo. Oops, this is not the most up-to-date. But this has some basic information about actually how to do the data processing and get access to the data through Python Anywhere, which I think is a really great platform, especially if you're on Windows. Honestly, like trying to get virtual env installed on Windows is a nightmare. So switch to Linux, or you know, like that's the thing. Like I've been going to the OpenGov Hack Night, which is a competing event. That's been really great for me because it's great to be able to geek out with fellow Pythonistas, but I'm able to go there and help out a little bit with someone, a designer, or someone who's interested in civic data and doesn't know how to get it, and I'm able to apply my meager technical skills and do that. So I see this as really accessible. Python Anywhere is great for that. Has a lot of batteries included. Anyway, so where do we start? Where do we start with this? Like, how do I get the data? There's not like a hashtag on this. It's not like, please hold up your phone and scan this, and like that's not really going to be cool with IDOT and their don't text and drive thing. So I'm kind of left to my own. Also, I'm not really like super familiar with how the government works. Is anyone? I don't know. So I just went to Google. I went to Google right away, and I looked just for traffic deaths or traffic. I think I looked for like roadway fatalities, and I found that the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration runs something called the Fatality Analysis Reporting System. And let's see, this is yeah, it's a lot of acronyms. Here, let's see, we can go to the fatality analysis. This is their site. So they have like intense amounts of data on roadway fatalities. This is also not everything. Like this is what's been reported on the scene by police officers. If someone went in an ambulance to the hospital and died there, that's not reported. That's considered personal health information. That's protected. But this at least is a proxy of like, what's the really dangerous area? Like where are these happening? So if you go on the site and go on to the FAR's website, this actually, I didn't find this. My wife found this. She knew that I was interested, and she knew that I wouldn't stop talking about it until I found the data. So she found it for me. Go through here, and there's a FAR's FTP site, and that's what this is. Now you can see here there's data, there are folders for 1975 up to 2012. They have data for all those years, 38 years. In one of these folders, they have files. It's totally cryptic. Like, what does this mean? Like, you pretty much have to figure it out for yourself. As it turns out, they provide data in two formats, SAS and DBF. I don't use SAS. I don't have a license. It costs money. I used to install SAS for people, but I don't know how to use it. DBF is the alternative. DBF is actually the extension for DBase. It's a database format that's older than time. I apologize to anyone who knew about it before it existed. But so DBF is not exactly the new hot stuff. It's like kind of forgotten. It's not one of the top like modules in ChiPy. So how do we get into the DBF file? Turns out, because Python is wonderful, Python is awesome, there are several DBF reading modules. The one I chose is called dbfpy. Yeah, it's on SourceForge. I don't know. It's weird. It's not even like, it's not on PyPy. I have to download this tar.gz file, but you can still install it with pip. And this, so I won't bore you with these details, but essentially if you want to use dbfpy, this is all the code that you need to use. Like, read in the dbf file, read this as a database. I mean, this is the core of the code. I wrote this little script that translates a dbf file to a CSV. CSV, if you're not aware, is like the holy grail of text-based file formats. I mean, it's not like the best, but it can be used by everything. So I just open the file, I load it as a database, and while it's open, I create a CSV dict writer. CSV is a standard library module for Python, which is totally awesome, and I use that all the time. And then just go through the records in the database and write them out to the CSV, and that's it. So if you go on this, if you go to this, if you go to my thing, right, my thing, there's a script on here to do that. You can run it as a command line script. Very simple. Like, this is something, if you don't really know much about Python, you could dig into this and cut it apart and figure it out. I mean, if an idiot like me can figure it out, then anyone can. So let me get back on track. I honestly didn't rehearse any of this, so I don't really know what I'm doing. But so you have to get the data first, then convert it to CSV. That's a whole lot of data. Turns out that 38 years of data, every year has something like 30 to 35,000 fatal accidents, an insane number of columns. Even after I convert this, if we take one of the main files, accident.csv, or accident.csv, let's take 2012, for instance. That file is 4.7 megs. It has 33,000 rows. That's a little, I know we're like in the new age, but that's pretty big, and it's unwieldy for web visualization. You need to trim that down. And so the really interesting stuff in here is, I want to know how many, what's the severity? Like that's one of the values provided, how many people died. When it happened, so they provide these month, day, hour, and minute, not down to the second, but provide, like there's an, you know, they have like a spy copter or something, I don't know. And then they also provide the latitude and longitude, which is awesome. I mean, that's great. So now we have the data so that we can actually visualize this geographically over time. You know, how severe was this? And so I took this and I said, I just want to see what this looks like. I don't know, for instance, the 986 deaths or whatever from 2012, where did they happen? When did they happen? What was the distribution? I just want to visualize this. So I'm going to cut it down to exactly what I want. I'm going to simplify it. There's a very simple simplify script in there. Cut it down. That's still pretty big, 1.2 megs, but it was small enough that I could upload it somewhere and visualize it. And here I want to kind of, I want to promote Google Fusion Tables is a very easy and free tool to visualize data. The only problem is I don't really know how to make it look good. So that was my visualization of all of that data. Yeah, okay, people died on roads all over the country. Like, some people died here, and what's that? Well, you know, this reminds me of like zip codes. You know, zip codes are not actually areas. Zip codes are postal routes, and so like there are areas that don't have zip codes.
Why are some of those green and teal?
Those are based on the number of fatalities, and that was a binning. There was a binning of like, I said the binning of like, I don't know, yellow is white, or yellow is 1 and green is 2, and so on. So, but it doesn't really come through. You can't really tell what that is. This is not free. Well, there's a free account you can get with CartoDB, but it's pretty neat. It's a really nice way. I did all this in one night, by the way. I did this December 27th. I was just like, got home, it was like 8 p.m., and I worked from 8 p.m. till 3 a.m., just trying to see what this is. And so these were all the things that were like immediately available to me. There's probably better stuff out there. I just haven't done the research. Yeah?
Is there data for like the number of miles driven, so you can correct it by, you know, total aggregate number of miles in this?
Miles driven before the accident?
No, I mean like so you take like you take the Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
How many like vehicle miles are there on the Kennedy in a year, and then correct, you know, the number of fatalities on the Kennedy.
Oh, right. Like sort of like correcting for like population density or something. Yeah, yeah. That one of the things I wanted to talk about here was not like promoting my own thing, but like I want to really get everyone else's opinions about what else can I do with this data, and that's really interesting, because like one of the problems with visualizations of like over the country is, well, this is actually weighted by population density. So this is New York and Philadelphia and like Connecticut. Yeah, of course there are a lot of people dying there because everyone lives there. Like Chicago, no one lives here. That's why no one dies there. And LA and San Francisco, like that's so it needs to be weighted. I would like to change that. Yes, and so that's one of the really. No, I would like to see that.
You've got the second.
Yeah.
Split it, like the morning, noon, evening.
Right, right.
More depth or not.
Right. Yeah, I would really.
Plus correcting for the population, right?
Yeah, like look at weather data too. Like there's free weather data and see like, was it raining here at that time? Like was it Divi data? Oh.
I was thinking because different parts of the country have like night at different times. You can use, have you heard of PyEFM? It lets you like track like the elevation of the sun.
No.
It's an awesome library if you're like interested in the elevation of the sun.
I'm interested in that. I'm interested. What's it called? PyEFM? Is this it? Like this? Like ephemeral? Oh, cool. Sweet. Something. Okay. That's awesome. Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Like this is just an entryway into more, like integrating it with more data. Yeah.
This might be useful as public policy in finding, if you zoom in on an area like the Chicago area,
Yeah.
to find nighttime accidents and be able to say, well, you've had this many nighttime accidents on this stretch of roads in the last 25 years. Maybe you should put a street light right here.
Yeah. That would be very interesting. Yes.
It's got the measles. If you're a Python guy, obviously.
Yeah.
Jacob gives you some really, really nice widgets for free, and you can do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you, that's the thing. Like, I have to buy into some amount of information, like knowledge. If you, or if anyone is interested, if you're interested in doing something like that, if you could help me do that, that would be super helpful. That would be really great. I know PostGIS is like the end-all, be-all of geographical databases. So, Jason?
There's I don't know much about it. I just know it exists. There's a special GIS thing called Panda State.
Oh, really? So how does that, I mean, how is that helpful? What do you do with that? Like you can determine like what's spatially like within a certain point or? Ah, okay. Cool. Because I had to do this, like I took this, I had the entire visualization of like 33,000 points and it froze JavaScript. It froze Firefox and it didn't work. So I sort of like, I took, you may have seen, I had this tab open of the latitude, longitude of Chicago. So here this is in, let's see, where is this? I don't have the original, but you can do selections in CartoDB of select star from whatever where latitude is greater than 43 and less than 43 and greater than 41, that kind of thing.
Can you zoom in to see a smallest area? What is the highest resolution you have?
Yeah, let's see. This is no street view. But that would be. I mean, why not? Why couldn't you have that? What's that?
That's what I call. There are a lot of more deaths occur on the, like side.
Where the street view might not exist. Yeah. Yeah. Like I've been out in the country like Moni or like upstate New York, and it's just fields everywhere, and people drive like bats out of hell. It's crazy, and like everyone's got their high beams on, and so it's blinding.
Another question I have about this, is this data only for people who are in cars, or what if there's
You know, I should mention Steve Vance, who's someone I met at OpenGov Hack Night. He has a Chicago crash website. Let's see, it's Bike Crash. bike crashes. He gets information somehow from, oops, that's probably not it. That, I don't know. I didn't look too deeply into it. Oops. I don't know. That's a good question. There's a lot of other information in the FARS data. Like, I cut out all those columns, but some of the columns are like, was the person in a car? Did they hit the embankment? Like, were they in the car when they died? Like a lot of information. Yeah, that would be.
I think passengers, it's very important to see some people don't drive.
Yeah. I would be primarily interested in that. That's for sure.
So Nick, real quick, it sounds like there's a lot of people interested here.
Yeah.
How do these people get involved?
I would love to see if anyone would like to do kind of stuff with this kind of publicly available information. I would call this civic data just because it's collected by the government. I would highly encourage you to come to an OpenGov Hack Night. It's every Tuesday night at 1871 in the Merchandise Mart. It's free. There's food but no drinks. I don't understand that.
And I found this out because I go and I eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
I do. I'm terrible. Derek Peter pays for that out of pocket.
Oh, I'll pay for the drinks then.
Yeah, if you go and you've got $1 or $5 in your pocket,
Sure. Yeah. Well, so let's see. So there's some like down here. Well, even it's blurry. Why is it blurry? I don't know. It's not like a spatial area. Like this was a whole area of death.
actually, right in the loop is like a very dark, bloody red splotch.
Let's do not cumulative. So one thing I wanted to bring up is that like these are very easy, low barrier to entry tools that we can use where, oh yeah, I have it turned off cumulative. Like I ended up paying for an account on here, but you can get a free account. I did this all in 7 hours. And so if anyone is like interested in data, you can actually see, you can have a question about what does this look like, and you can actually answer it for yourself. Like I want this to be empowering. Like you can do this, and even if you're on Windows, you can do it. Like, that's a good question. I don't know.
What is your next step?
My next step is just to live in fear. I don't know. I'm already there. I still don't do it. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like, is it?
Highway transportation, they do this all the time. They analyze the data, so they try to figure out. I used to be a police reporter.
Oh, okay.
That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
Traffic accidents.
Yeah.
Every night.
Yeah.
And so what they usually do when they go to a traffic accident, they try to figure out the cause, well, know the location, so that then they analyze the data, and then they try to figure out if there's a hazard on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
But 9 times out of 10, it's sleeping.
Really?
That's usually the #1 cause of a traffic accident on highway.
Interesting.
And then it's alcohol. And then it goes to hazards in the road and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So then they do public announcements like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to get people aware. So they can't really, it's not the road.
Right.
It's not the,
Right.
it's the behavior.
Yeah. But So maybe the answer is you can do nothing about it, but at least I can like help myself get a picture of what's going on, show things that, show something that is thought-provoking. Like, I don't know what this says. Does this say anything? But it at least gives me something more than the straight data, so I can be like, oh, okay, so yeah, oh yeah, that looks like it's not on all highways. That's interesting. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Just, it takes 4 hours, but you can still get downtown. That's true. That's right. And I just wanted to, since I have the soapbox, I wanted to mention one other thing that I saw on the web called, this is an essay on people, not data. 957 people died. 957 people were, so one person, your mom, someone's cousin, someone's sister, someone's daughter died unexpectedly, violently on the road. That happened over 900 times. So this essay is very interesting. I recommend reading it. This talks about, we don't really, people who are sometimes programmers or otherwise who are involved organizationally in data, forget that the numbers represent people, and that we, there's a great term they use here, that we disdain users, that we disdain people, that we consider them to be unworthy of one's consideration. This is focusing a lot on like food stamps and the food stamp process, but in general, I think, let's build with empathy. I think this is really important to remember that this is a big number, and we can chart it, and we can put it on maps, and we can make pretty colors, and we can make it animate. But the key thing is that these are people. I can't even imagine how many people, like 33,000 people died in the U.S. in 2013 from roadway accidents. At least that many people. What does that even mean? Like, that's beyond my comprehension. Like, I grew up in a town with 10,000 people. I don't even know what that means, So I want to leave you with that, or not leave you with that thought, but at least introduce that to you, that these numbers are people, and that I think numbers dehumanize people, that it's important to remember what we're working with, that it's about what is death? I mean, what is loss of this nature, and how can we avoid it, and how does it really matter to us? Because I feel like for me, when it's just numbers, it loses meaning. Does anyone have any reactions, thoughts?
Yeah, so I've had some family members lost them in traffic crashes, and I looked at the data, and actually the CDC has mortality statistics, and traffic crashes are the number 2 cause of death. That's not preventable. That's preventable.
The CDC?
Yeah, so they have mortality statistics.
Yeah.
And so it kills more people than guns are killed by traffic crashes. And so it's really important, I think, to focus on how can we fix this?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you for sharing.
90,000 people die from accidents, and around 2.some million die every year by all causes in the United States.
I mean, we all die. So, but it's
30,000 is more than any war for sure.
yeah.
And I'm sorry to just comment, but if people are sleeping, now you're going to laugh next 3 seconds. But I think you can make a software to detect when they are sleeping, to choke them or something.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, it's not trivial, people die. But also,
Not with the glass after that.
oh really? Well, something,
So, yeah, there's a eye sensor, and it's
oh, that's cool. Look at that.
So, someone just made an app where
It's already there?
yeah, if you're falling asleep, then it freaks out and it plays loud noise.
Semi-drivers and semis is still expensive, and there is a lot of damage, financial damage. What
Yeah, yeah.
There might be incentive to sell your idea, make some not, code for some tracking companies.
Mm-hmm.
Competing actually.
Yeah.
Back at the data and see and convince bigger corporations to have
So
I think it's trivial.
I am very interested, and so if anyone is interested, I would love to get some help with this. If anyone I'm on the ChiPy website. I'm on the ChiPy website from ChiPy. Quiet.
Where's your contact information?
It's on GitHub. It's to the beat. That's right. If you go look at, there were 986 buried in here. I'm going to need to make a patch for the website, but this takes you to the GitHub automatic page, and it has my email on there. If we go to that, go here. This is my crazy face, and you can email me or go to my blog or something like that. So I'd really like to collaborate with people. That's why I go to the OpenGov Hack Night. I would really like to work with someone, get more ideas. Yeah.
I was just going to say, several of the automakers are coming out with app SDKs, or already have app SDKs, so you can write an app for your car right now, like right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a Ford, 2014 model or something like that. But there's that, and there's something else to consider. Like probably within a decade, I mean, a reasonable percentage of cars are going to be self-driving. I think.
I'm looking forward to that.
I actually am too. So.
Especially on the highway. Thank you. So please connect. Either come to an OpenGov Hack Night just once. Please say hi to me. I would love to see any and all of you there. If you can't make it, it's Tuesday nights.
Every Tuesday night.
Every Tuesday night. That's right. It's free. It's 1871. Please RSVP. But otherwise, if you can't make it, you live in the suburbs, whatever. Please just contact me. I will make you a contributor on the repo. You can add to the wiki and whatnot, and we can make ideas. So, thank you.